Hello, Simmers. Seaweed from Tribal Soup Project here. Welcome to another episode of SIMsational. You're watching the Ultimate Builder's Guide, and today is going to be all about roofs. We are going to go over an in-depth usage of how roofs work. We're going to also cover how to create a three-dimensional effect using roofs. And I think this is something that most people find a bit daunting. I have heard it said several times that working with roofs is like the hardest thing about building. That's not actually my opinion at all, because they're really fairly simple to use. But I think what people find hard about it is how to create like a very clean and three-dimensional effect using them. So we're definitely going to go over that, because I think creating a three-dimensional effect is really important in a build. And then, of course, we are going to continue building the structure that we've built together throughout the course of this guide. And if you've been watching, then you know that this is not our beautiful house. It is just basically what we're going to use to kind of learn how roofs work. So we are going to jump right in with how to use roofs. So obviously, the first thing that we need to do is open up our roof tools right here on the little house. And the game gives us all of these wonderful, wonderful different types of roofs to use. We first have our gabled roof. And a gabled roof is basically just your regular triangular roof that has shingles on just two sides like so. The next roof that we have is our hipped roof. And a hipped roof is like a pyramid that has shingles on all four sides, just like that. The next type of roof that we have available to us is we have our half gabled and half hipped roof. Now, the purpose of these two types of roofs is so that they can go cleanly up against a wall such as this one. So if I were to have this half hipped roof, these half-hipped roofs have one side that's like a flat wall, and that's so that it can cleanly go up against a wall such as this one. I guess you could put it in your game like this, and if you looked at it straight on, then it would just look like a gabled roof. But if you were to look at it like this, I mean, in my opinion, it just doesn't look right. And to be perfectly honest with you, for some reason it reminds me of a mullet haircut. But yeah, so I mean, you can obviously do what you want, but it's really meant to go up against a wall. Now, these half-gabled roofs, yes, the half-gabled roofs are meant to go up against a wall like this. Just going to go real quick, put it up against the wall, lower it down a little bit. And it creates, you know, a nice clean thing up against the wall. But these ones are actually really useful to use to create kind of either a modern effect or a retro effect. And that kind of seems like an oxymoron, kind of like jumbo shrimp. But this is, if you have the city living in your game, those big apartment buildings, those roofs are like this. These are the roofs that they use to create this effect. So this one is actually a really cool one to use just at the top of your roof that doesn't have to go up against a wall. So the next roofs that we have down the list are Hexagon, Octagon, and Pentagon, and Circular. And what these are used for is for your towers such as this one. And then beyond that, we have our gabled, hipped, half gabled, and half gipped on the diagonal. And you would basically use those for a structure that is on the diagonal, which should be obvious. So yeah, so those are the different types of roofs we have available, and they all work in the same fashion. So we're going to go ahead and take this gabled roof, and while we have our roof selected, you can see wherever we're going to place this roof, we've got our green outline that shows us where it's going to be. So we're just going to go ahead and place it on like so. And then once we've got our roof on, all we have to do are use these 4 arrows on each side to make it of the appropriate size on the roof. So I'm going to pull it out like that. And then I'm going to pull it all the way back here like this to cover the entire roof. Now, because this structure is very wide, when we pulled it out, now we have an extremely tall triangular roof. And in fact, I'm pretty sure that this triangle here is taller than the actual structure itself. And all we have to do to fix that is to use this fifth little arrow that's located at the top to just drop it down to an appropriate size so that we can have a regular sized gable, or we can either have a very flat gable, such as this. So, the other little tools on our roof that are available to us is we have these little curved arrows like so. It's not an actual arrow like this one. It's more of a curvature. And what that is, that's so that you can pull your lip out. You can pull the lip out really big like this so that your overhang can be very, very large. And then you have another one right over here to pull the lip down here like this, just like so. So we have those as well. I'm going to actually get rid of those. And now we're going to talk about this last little tool that we have on this roof. These little balls on here are so that you can bow your roof like so. You can bow it all the way in, or you can bow it all the way out like that. So, there is actually an additional tool as well that we do not have available to us until we press Shift and the letter C on the keyboard. Now that I've done that, I am getting extra balls. I'm getting 2 extra balls on this gabled roof. What that is that's so that we can be more detailed with where we're bowing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this one here to bow it out just like this. And as you can see, instead of it being completely curved how it would have been otherwise, it's now only curved on these sides where it's curved to the point of this one. So let me zoom in a little bit so that you can see it a little better. So when we bowed this out, let me go back. Let me undo that real quick. So when we bowed this one out, this is going to bow everything up until this circle. This circle is going to stay the same from the very top to this circle. And the only thing that is bowed is from this circle and down to this one. Then we, of course, can use these to do further bowing out. It's just so that you can be a bit more detail-oriented with it. And, oh, I didn't even see these ones down here. I never noticed that one. Let's see what happens when we do that. I don't see anything that happens. Maybe it's for if we have this like that. Let's see what happens now. Huh. Okay, so it's just bringing the lip out more at a curve like that. So those are how the tools, the roofing tools actually work. And they all work in the same exact fashion. You can do the hipped roof and just place it on there. And you can pull it out. You can pull it out this way here like this. Then you can bow it as well. You can bow it like that. You can bow it like that. We can Shift C on our keyboard to make it a little bit more detail oriented like so. And oh, look how cool that is. This is so cool. I really like how we have the additional little balls on here to do the bowing. So yeah, so that is how the actual roofs work. Now, like I had said, as far as these half-hipped and half-gabled roofs, the purpose of these is to go up against the wall of your structure. So I'm actually we have a 2-story house here. So I'm going to go ahead and come down here to this level, to the actual 2nd story. This is the roof level. And then we come down here to the actual second story. And the reason we're going to come down to the actual second story is we're going to put a roof that goes over this entire porch all the way along the side. So, and we're going to use the half-hipped roofs to do this. So, I want to call your attention to the grid lines. As you can see, these grid lines have gone out, have extended out from beyond the floor outside to cover 1 square longer than our porch. That is so that we can easily place our roof over the porch is what that's for. So as you can see, when I grab this roof and I can see my little green square is telling me where it's going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and place this right here like so. I'm going to turn this like that. And then I'm simply going to pull it all the way out to here. I'm going to go 1 further than my porch. And then I'm going to bring it all the way down over the same way this way. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little look. And I actually want it a little lower than this wall. I don't want it totally flat, but I want it lower than where the wall is. Maybe a little bit higher than that. Okay. So now that I've got that one on there, I'm going to take another half-hipped roof. And I'm going to place it going along the wall like this. And I'm going to turn it so that the flat side goes against the wall. And then I'm going to pull it out across here all the way down to that. I'm going to cover that one completely and pull it all the way back over here. And then I'm simply going to lower this down so that it is right at about the same height as the other roof. And voila, our roofs have completely joined together and it looks like just one roof, like so, and it creates a really nice effect. Then you can come down here to the columns, and you know, you could have like a little, it looks like a column is supporting the roof like this if you didn't want it to be just kind of floating here. Or of course, you know, you could create a wall column if you'd rather do it like so. So that's a really cool feature that it has. And just so you know, you can have a roof. You can have your roof. You can pull your roof all the way through your structure like so. And as long as your roof is not taller than your walls, then the roof on the inside where you pulled it through the house is not going to be shown. It only shows as if your roof is taller than your actual walls like so. So that's another really cool feature about the roofs, is that it makes it super easy to just be able to pull a roof through if you want it to carry through on all the sides. So with that one done, we're just going to kind of create more of a completed look just real quick so that my OCD doesn't go crazy. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this column. I'm going to pull this in right over here like this. I think I want to pull this porch in too as well. And then I'm just going to take this half gabled and pull this out. Oops, too far, went too far. Just to make kind of more of a completed look with the roof. Just like so. And that, I see, and that looks really clean and nice. And I'm going to go ahead and pull that in a bit. Pull the lip in. Pull this out more. There, that looks great. And then we'll just go ahead and put like a regular hipped roof on the top like so. Just like that. I think I went too far. I did. Too far. And then just lower it down a little bit. So that's a much more completed look. So it was really easy to do that. So the next kind of roofs we're going to talk about are these tower roofs. And we didn't always have these ones. We used to have to do something in the game to create this effect that was really freaking annoying, to be perfectly honest with you. But now we have these beautiful tower roofs that, and it works just in the same way, where you can just place it on like that and then just start pulling it out. It seems a little bit awkward at first, the first time you go to use it, but you just kind of pull it out and then pick it up and move it so that it's on there completely. And the fact that, as you can see, You just want to pay attention to the green square and look at the edges of your actual roof to make sure they're aligned with the walls. And then poof, it's right on there. You can also bow these as well to make like a little dome. You could bring it in like that to make kind of like an Asian effect. You can pull the lip out, so that's like almost like a little islandy effect, like an island hut would be. And that's a really cool thing as well. So the only ones of these roofs, these tower roofs, this is a really cool one as well. Just saying, it works in the same way, even though it doesn't have edges. You're just going to pull it out and place it just like so, just like normal, like that. And it looks all nice and pretty and clean. So, back on track to what I was saying. The only one of these tower roofs that kind of has me mystified. This one works in the same way. I forgot to put this on even though I built this little wall thing. But, I mean, it works in the same exact way. And I keep getting off topic, and I'm going to stop that right now. So, we don't care about that. It works in the same way as that, darn it. So, the only one of these roofs that I'm a bit confused about is the Pentagon. So, let's come down here to ground level. So, a pentagon is a shape that has 5 sides. And in the game, we can't draw like this. We can't draw our walls like this. As you can see how this edge of the roof, it comes across the floor tile in a really strange fashion. And I can't, you can pick it up and move it wherever the heck you want, but it's still going to be like that. There's going to be one side that is just not right because we can't draw walls like this. So if I'm wrong about this, somebody please tell me what to do with this because I'm a little bit confused. The only thing that I kind of thought that maybe the purpose of this roof would be like on just a square tower like this one, where I could put this on like that, and then you pull it out further than what it is, and let's place it a little better. So, I mean, even maybe I don't have it pulled out right. Let's go ahead and build a square room real quick. Let's build a regular square room. And now let's take our Pentagon roof and place this on here. So obviously it needs to go further out than that. So we're going to place this on here like that. And I guess maybe pull it out one more. I don't know. I mean, that looks really strange, and it's actually making me a little bit uncomfortable. Like, I don't know, it's like kind of invoking a muscle tension in my back and arm. I'm not sure. I don't like this at all. So somebody please explain to me how this works. So let's get rid of that. And the last type of roof that we're going to talk about, this type of roof isn't actually available to us in the game, and that's the Mansard Roof. And a Mansard Roof is also sometimes called a French roof, and it's kind of like the Gothic style roof. So all you have to do to create this is really, really simple. Is come up to your roof level, and then you're going to create a box inside the roof. So we're going to create a box like this, and we are going to leave 3 floor spaces on each side of this roof, just like so. So once we have that on there, we can come in with our half-hipped roofs, and we are going to place our half-hipped roof right along the walls of this inside room, just like so. And then we're going to lower this down to about that level like this. And we're going to complete this action on all 4 sides. And this is the point where I am going to draw your attention to this little menu that pops up when you click on your roofs to adjust them. This little menu will allow you to pick your roof up and move it wherever you want. It will allow you to rotate your roof in any which fashion that you like. And then it will also allow you to copy your roof, which is what we're going to do here. And we're going to place this one here, and then we're simply going to rotate it around so that it is up against the building, and we're going to have to pick it up to move it closer, like so. And then I'm just going to go ahead and copy that again, and I'm going to place it and rotate it and then move it. Just like so. One more. Place, rotate, rotate. Voila! We have a nice little mansard roof, and we can come with our little fence and draw our little fence on just like that. We've got a nice Gothic looking roof like so. So that is how you use roofs and how you work with them. So now we are going to go ahead and put our structure that we've been building together throughout the course of this guide. We're going to put that back into the lot, and we're going to talk about creating a three-dimensional effect using roofs. So I am of the very strong opinion that creating a three-dimensional effect in your build is very important. And this is going to be especially true if you plan on sharing your lot to the gallery. And the reason for this is when you share a lot to the gallery, the picture that's taken to show the lot, it's very two-dimensional. It's almost like somebody had just drawn a house on a piece of paper. And just like an artist would use shading and things like that in order to make the picture look three-dimensional, you as a builder in your video game can also do things in order to create the three-dimensional effect. And one of those things that you can do is to use roofs wisely. So real quick, I'm going to show you for an example. We have our beautiful house that we have built throughout the course of this series that we're going to use to kind of see what we can do to create a three-dimensional effect. So if I were to just slap a single roof on this very large structure, like so, I'm just going to put one roof that goes over the entire thing like this. This certainly does nothing to help our three-dimensional effect. In fact, it completely takes away from everything we've done with the walls to create a three-dimensional effect, and it looks extremely flat now, and it looks extremely awkward in my opinion. Now, if you're going to build like a small gazebo or maybe just like a little grass hut or something like that, then using just that one big roof is going to be okay because it's not really a big structure. But when you have a big house such as this, a key point in creating the three-dimensional effect is to use roofs wisely. And what I mean by using roofs wisely is to use not only more than one roof, but to use more than one style of roof. Obviously, you're going to have to use these tower roofs if you have like a tower like we have here. But then you can also use both the hipped roof and the gable roof. And even like real structures in real life. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the picture of the house that we're modeling, the house we're building together throughout the course of the guide. They have used several different roofs to create this house. They have used 1, 2, 3 different tower roofs. They've used several gabled roofs. They've used hipped roofs, and they've even used a half gabled roof right here. So the same thing is going to be carried over into the Sims, and you are going to want to use more than one roof. So if when you were watching me put up the walls of this structure in the last video, you will see all these little places here, and I only put a fence that went around one section where I'm going to have a balcony. I didn't forget to put the fence on the rest of these sections because the rest of these sections down here are all going to be different kinds of roofs. That's really going to go a long way in helping create a three-dimensional effect. And then at the top of the second floor here, you can see how we left these little lips out in these places. We're going to put several roofs on them as well to help create the three-dimensional effect. And just to real quick show an example of how much this adds to the effect, I'm just going to go ahead and place this on here real quick. And then I'm going to take now a gabled roof. And I'm just going to put this gabled roof along this little lip. And I'm going to pull it slightly so it's connected. And this has really helped create that three-dimensional effect. Whereas if I hadn't put that little lip and I had brought this all the way out to the edge like this, the effect is not as good as it is the other way. So the way you create the three-dimensional effect with the roofs is to use many roofs as well as different types of roofs as well. And then once you've got your roofs on there, then you can come over here to this little roof pattern, this little tile that's on top of the roofs over here. This shows you all your different types of roof patterns. We've got shingled roofs, we've got our metal roofs, we've got our skylight roofs, and we've even got some grass thatch roofs as well. When you put roofs on a structure, and especially if you're not going to use a bunch of different roofs, then you really want to try to use a roof pattern that is very textured, like this Shake It Up roof. That's a really good roof pattern to use because it has a lot of depth to it. There's a lot of shading in the color of this, and it really makes it look very three-dimensional. Whereas something like this scalloped roof, there's not a whole lot of shading on each of these like little shingles or tiles or whatever they are. There's much more shading in this one that helps create a lot more depth. And then like this composite roof, not really sure what that means, eco-luster, I don't know, I guess it's just grass roof. There's a lot of shading involved in this one as well, and that's in comparison to this single thatched one. And this is a really cool roof, and I'm not saying I don't like these other roofs, because these other roofs are really cool. And like even this one here, like this, that has like no shading, like they have their time in their place, and I really like them as well. But if you're going to have, like, let's say you're building a Tudor style house and you're not going to have a lot of lips like this, and you're going to have a lot of long walls such as this one, then you want to try to do everything else that you can do to create the three-dimensional effect. And using a wise roof pattern will really help with that. And then once you've got your roofs on there and you've chosen your roof pattern, another way that you can use roofs to create a three-dimensional effect is to use a good roof trim. So we've got all these different styles of roof trims available to us. And basically what they are, they're just a trim that either is bigger than another one, or has a little bit more shading and depth to it, or it has more pattern to it like this. So if I were to create just a very square flat house with a lot of flat walls like this, and I were to put my roof on, I would want to choose a roof pattern that has depth, and then I would probably want to use a very large trim such as this one. Now that looks really awkward with this really small roof like this, but it doesn't look so awkward when you pull it out. When you pull it out and then you make it taller like this, then it doesn't look so awkward, and it actually adds a lot to creating that three-dimensional effect. That one, and then these fine thatched roofs as well. These will, come on you, these will really help create the three-dimensional effect as well. So yeah, so those are my tips for creating a three-dimensional effect. You want to use many different roofs. You want to use several of them, and then you want to pick roof patterns as well as the roof trims that are going to give it more depth as well. So with all of those things said, I am going to go ahead and I am going to slap some roofs on this puppy. This is going to be done in my classic speed build fashion where I have the music in the background, but I'm not going to actually speed it up too much. It's going to be kind of, I'm going to speed it up a little, but not that much. It's going to be slow enough so that you can see what I'm doing, because obviously the purpose of this video is for you to learn. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Well, I think our building guide house is really starting to come together. These roofs, as you can see, have created a much more three-dimensional effect already, and we're well on our way to being completed with that. So yeah, so if you have any questions or comments, please do feel free to leave them down into the comments below. If you like the video, please do give us a nice little thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, check out the website, see some of the other cool stuff we got going on out there. And until next time, guys, happy simming, and I'll catch y'all later. Goodbye.